I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Magicians After Show on AfterBuzz TV. We did a little trade out. Ty was here last week. He's not here this week. I'm here. Sometime we'll come all together again. I swear, I promise.
We're like the magicians. We're constantly separated.
I'll be gone for 2 weeks. Sorry. I have things to do in Scotland. But welcome. We're talking episode 5 and 6 of season 5. Apocalypse Now and Oops, I Did It Again. Mm-hmm. I'm Adrian Snow. I have with me the wonderful, the marvelous Stephanie Sabraw.
So excited to be here. I'm glad you're back, Adrian. I missed you.
Yeah, I wanted to be here. Work is a nightmare.
It sucks that Tyler's not here, actually, because these were 2 great episodes.
They were. But, you know, he's got to do his own thing. We all have our...
He'll be back.
Our outside lives that we have to deal with as well. But we're going to be talking about lunacy. We're going to be talking about time loops. We're going to be talking about Charlton and people coming back that you weren't expecting. It's good times. We're going to cover both these episodes in this time. So we're going to have a lot to unpack. First thoughts.
Really enjoyed these episodes. Yeah. I think it was an interesting choice to do 2 episodes at once. Mm-hmm. I wonder if... Because they are the type of show that leaves suspense for a long time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why. I guess they just really wanted that Groundhog episode in ASAP.
I don't know if
but
it was
I love them.
Yeah, I loved both episodes, but it was kind of like, oh, okay, 2 episodes in the middle of the season. This is unusual. Usually you get them at the top of the season, at the end of the season, but they decided, in the middle of the season, we're going to give you 2 episodes and 2-hour epic story, because it also surprised me that the harmonic convergence was not the big quest of this season. They're like, hey, you thought it was going to be all about the harmonic convergence. Hey, psych. It's actually really about the Dark King and Fillory, and we'll touch on that later, but let's go ahead and really focus on Apocalypse Now right now. So much happened. My notes look insane. I don't even know where to start. Let's go with the Dean. Let's just start there. So the Dean is in the etheric realm, and now we have Dean Lipson taking over and reinforcing that everything will still go the way it's supposed to go. Penny is powerless. He can really do nothing but magic, which is still awesome, but he still has to honor the protocol. Just kind of quick thoughts on that, and just having Dean Lipson take over. And
he seemed fine with it, so if he's fine with it, I'm fine with it. I just felt like, bro, Penny's already getting screwed over. If he doesn't get his full powers back, I'm gonna be really upset. And then on top of that, it's like, no, you can't do what you want now that half of you is stripped away. You have to teach here, and then now you have to teach a class that you don't even know about. But
yeah, he has to be. It's not even a class he doesn't know about.
Class.
It's a extracurricular activity he has to run now. It's like, what? That's so rude to do that to Penny of all people. He could care less about that sport. And then also just he does attempt to travel, and we're going to just merge the episodes together because there's so much to talk about. And he immediately travels into a wall, and it just turns into a gushing thing of blood. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're so unbothered by the sight of their friends getting slaughtered because it's happened every season.
Alice passed out. That was pretty intense. Yeah. But just I love that they just kind of went straight for it. Of course he's going to epically fail the moment he tries to travel without being able to see where he's going. But it was just a nice little tidbit to start off the episode of him kind of having to deal with still having this responsibility, even though he no longer has the tools to travel people. So now he's going to have to rely on his students to do the traveling for him. And also they do acknowledge that the Dean is gone. But we did get a little tidbit from Katie and Zelda, just to kind of jump into that as well. Sorry, guys, we're moving fast. We got 2 episodes, okay? We got 30 minutes. Katie and Zelda, when they're on the search for the depository, Zelda, we get a news that she actually lived for 3 years in the etheric realm.
Zelda was wild.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I don't know how she turned so prim and proper. I hope she lets loose by the end of the season. Maybe with Katie. I just need a drunk Zelda just once.
Just once.
Just give it to me.
Just to see that it's
Yeah,
there.
but it made sense. I love the meta of it all, that he will leave when he is ready to love something more than
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. They touched a lot on just like mental health and kind of just like being able to take care of yourself and what that means and how that looks. And so for Zelda to kind of acknowledge that, you know, there was a time where she wasn't taking care of herself, where she was kind of in this, you know, state of self-pity. And that the dean was there, which is why he had to stay and why Katie was allowed to leave. Like, even just having hope is enough for you to leave the etheric realm versus feeling like this is what you deserve and this is what you get is what keeps you in the etheric realm. And so for him to finally emerge out of that, which I hope we get by, I didn't mean to do bunny ears, I hope we get by episode 12, 13, that would be great to see him kind of come out as this new and improved Dean Fogg. But to also still have that quality that we love so much about Dean Fogg of just being able to just tell it like it is and no holds barred. And, you know, punch random men in the face because he feels like it because his life's ending or whatever.
Yeah.
That was great from last season.
It was.
It was wonderful. So, okay, we get to our... Make sure I'm not missing any small little tidbits.
Are you becoming a lunatic? Because I am.
Oh, my gosh. Every day of my life, Insomnia and me are lovers. We get to... Let's just go ahead and into the main part, which is... the moon brain. Mm-hmm. So we discover that there are lunatics, which is tied into the actual origin of the word lunatics and lunacy, to be moonstruck and
yeah. Stephen John Paul in the chat said that exactly that the word lunatic originated in ancient Rome from the word lunaticus.
Yeah,
and it referred the phenomena that people would go crazy when the moon was full.
That's actually part of a special segment, so I'll go further into that.
Oh, yes, tease.
Yes.
We love it.
But, so they have to essentially go without sleep for 5 days. And this immediately made me think of an episode of Adventures of Pete and Pete, for all you old folks like me out there, where they had to go without sleep for, I think it was 7 days. And I think it's like on the 11th day you can die without going to sleep or something like that. Something crazy. But just, there's something so nice and fun to see about people dealing with sleep deprivation in television. I don't know why. I mean, go back. If you can find Adventures of Pete and Pete from Nickelodeon circa 1993, that episode is great. Watch it. But watching everyone have their own variations of how they deal with sleep deprivation is just fun to see. Margo being like, oh, crap. Let me find the quote. She says something like, I get a full 9 every night and I'm still a bitch. This is going to get real. I love that. It's just because it's so true. Like, who is Margo without the sleep?
I am such a Margo fan. It's insane. And these 2 episodes gave us the Margo and Eliot we deserve. The Margo and Eliot we fell in love with season 1. Like, they just hyper-sexualized party, say it how it is, best friends, soulmates, should be married, but by the rules of themselves, they're not.
They're not. They're never going to be. That's okay, too.
Yeah. We just stand the friendship.
Yeah, we just get to see them kind of go through it. We get to discover that Josh is definitely a meth head. Like, there's no denying
just
it.
casually in the muffins.
Just casually putting meth in muffins. All natural.
I love the stakes of how they had to achieve this. No sleep. I love that he was the one that fell asleep first. And he's like, I never fall asleep when something's in the oven. It just is really good character building. It makes so much sense for him.
And it was good because they needed somebody who would be
like mother hen,
sober, you know, like awake to deal with everyone else falling asleep and spraying water in their faces and making sure that things were getting done. Because if you have everyone sleep deprived, then nothing's going to go to plan. So to have him be like, the mother hen really helped, I think, a lot. And then just the introduction of the character of Orrin Westbrook. I love that they were like, we're going to make fun of Elon Musk this episode. because I feel like we should always make fun of Elon Musk.
Has like random exes.
Random
that come
exes.
up.
Took somebody to the moon just to impress them, but it didn't work out. Very Elon Musky. What is SpaceX, Elon? Tell us. What is this about? Why are you doing this? Outside of making me think that there's an alien invasion like a year ago outside of AfterBuzz Studios. That's the only... That's a true story.
Dude, yes. Yes. Like, just such a good explanation of him. Just Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. That's all he is. Like, I mean, like, who else would just be obsessed with the moon rock? I mean, clearly also a lunatic, but, you know.
I will say in these 2 episodes, especially in the second episode, the stakes really made sense to me in a way that hasn't like fully clicked last season and this season. I felt like every time they went on quests, I'm like, it was a lot of what's the word? Exposition. Like, oh, we have to do this to do this.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of explanation. Whereas this one, where I was like, I'm buying into this storyline.
Yeah, we got to see it in action versus sometimes we're on the quest for so long that it kind of gets bogged down by that. Versus, I really did not expect us to be jumping directly into the harmonic convergence this episode. I figured, okay, they have to get sleep deprived, and then they're going to try and move the moon, then it's not going to work, then we have another 5 or 6 episodes, and they're like, no. We have 5 days to get sleep deprived, to interact with the moon. On the 5th day, the harmonic convergence happens, and it's like, oh, okay, you guys just want to get this.
Let's get the
Flipping
party
along.
started.
Like, let's go for it then. Let's go for it. Oh, I did forget to mention, because there's another side story. Fenn. So Fenn is left behind to be the maid on the outside, which, I mean, that's not a real thing, but it's so adorable.
So funny.
And she's there to basically save the fairies, and she does end up finding a fairy who is going to take her, and that's a whole nother thing that we get to kind of experience. So I hope that we'll kind of go through that over the next few episodes, since we're going back to Fillory after these 2 episodes. But to jump back into the main episode, now, Oren Westbrook's girlfriend is Mayakovsky's daughter, and I did not get her name. Did you get her name?
No.
Chat, if you can tell me her name, it's like the one thing I didn't write down in all these crazy notes. I thought it was interesting that they just kind of introduced her and then kind of cast her to the side, because I was like, oh, okay, well, whose shade are they giving up for her to come onto the quest? But it turns out it was Katie the whole time, just in a guise of Mayakovsky's daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because I was really... That was the one part that kind of annoyed me, because I'm like, we can't just keep giving up an arm and a leg every time that we make a deal. Like, no one's going to survive by the end of this. It's too much of a give and take.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the chat last time, or in the comments from last episode, someone brought up a really good point about the goddess who wanted to become human, and the only way she would only give one miracle. And it's like, if you want to be human and this happens, you don't get to be human.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Maybe she gets to be human
so
on
I'm
some other
glad
planet.
anyways this seemed like a diversion from that path.
Yeah, that they were kind of just like, no, we're not giving up our shape. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Yeah, we saw what happened.
Yeah, both of them have given up their shades before.
And it was
like,
no.
So for them to just be like, you know what, we can be smarter and craftier than this. Let's figure out our own way. Was really great to see. And then also having, I thought it was going to be like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like that image they've been using for the entire season, where it's like the 3 women and the moon above them. I was like, they're going to have the 3 women come in and do the thing. And they're like, no, Eliot and Alice and Julia are going to do the moon. And I was like, no, not Eliot. Like, I love Eliot, but Eliot is going through some shit. And Eliot needs to acknowledge it. And sure enough, he completely bails on the moon ritual, leading to the reintroduction of a blonde Marina.
Marina is just that one that every time she shows up, I'm like, shit.
She's just here to cause drama. She's just here to mess things up. She doesn't care if the world ends. Not a big deal. But now I'm like, well, what was she going to get out of this? Like, the world's going to end. Where are you going to go? In any case, they got what they wanted. Or she kind of got what she wanted in her own kind of weird way, where they overwhelmed the moon and broke it.
Yeah.
And so now the world definitely had to end. Which makes me think, like, if they had just done nothing, would it have been an apocalypse? Like, would it have been like, yeah, bad things would have happened. It would have been zany, but the world wouldn't have ended.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I do love that it ended like that, though, because it's nice to see a show where the stakes do follow through like that. It's like, you guys messed up. We got to fix this.
Yeah. And the moon breaking, I've had this dream my whole life. Sorry, side tangent. Of, like, the world ending and it having the worlds actually collide. So, like, Jupiter, the moon, everything's, like, slowly coming in on someone's backyard, or in someone's backyard. And we're just watching it because there's nothing else we can do. And then, I kid you not, a year after me moving to LA, I went to someone's house and I stopped to their backyard and it looked just like the backyard from my dream. So, I haven't gone to that house since. I will never go to that house again.
Yeah, no.
But just the image of the moon breaking this episode was incredibly terrifying for my own
I love
nightmarish.
the moon. Please don't let that ever happen.
Yes.
Please.
Humans don't destroy the moon.
Please.
That's if we have the power, we really don't.
If we did, we would have destroyed
We
it.
would have destroyed it by now. But that leads us into the second episode, which is the Oops, I Did It Again. Now, before we segue into that, let's hear from the chat and then just...
Yes. You guys, shout out to you all in the chat. Thank you so much for rocking with us. R09, Climb, XB, Gratian Ryan, Stephen John Paul, Batman is butthurt. Did you all see that new clip of Robert Pattinson? That
was a
dope
clip?
yeah. No, yeah, it was a clip.
Oh,
it was really cool. And a bunch of you in the chat, thank you so much for being with us. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button right now. We love to see those thumbs up. Leave us a comment after this video is done. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hello. Give us those 5 stars. Leave us a review. And yeah, we love to keep talking about this even after we are live.
Yes, and thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk.
That part.
That part. All right, so let's go right into Oops, I Did It Again. I love my Britney references, you know? Apocalypse Now, Oops, I Did It Again, Groundhog Day, Edge of Tomorrow, Happy Death Day to You. All of the references that happened over the past 2 hours were wonderful.
The self-awareness. I love it. They are the most self-aware show on TV right now.
And Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm just going to say this. If you watch Magicians, you will love Legends of Tomorrow.
Ooh.
Not season 1. Season 1 is crap. Get through it just to get to season 2, where everything gets better. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so, Oops, I Did It Again. So I didn't know what they were going to do.
Same.
Like, they acknowledged that Trump is president. And I was like, oh, that's a very subtle way of acknowledging that Trump is president of the United States by just saying the president tweeted. And I was like, okay, I know who you're talking about. Thank you. And then they're going through their code words. I'm like, okay, that'll be something important later. And you're like, okay, and oh, they're going to save us. They have the Richard's reverse entropy spell, and they're going to figure it out. Like, I was like, oh, okay, they'll figure it out. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so we're just going to get a different storyline now. Like,
Yeah.
we solved the issue.
Yeah.
I am so happy of the direction of this episode.
Yeah.
I've been dying for an episode like this.
Yeah.
I wanted Elliot to have this moment, and he really needed it because we spent the whole last season without Elliot. It was a monster.
true.
And now we finally have Elliot back. And by that, we have Margo back.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, I love this. I also just love that they were like, no, we're actually going to destroy it. They are all going to die. And so when that happened, I was like, what? How are you going to solve this? Because there was nothing leading up that made me think that this can be fixed.
Same.
So for them to get stuck in the time loop, I was like, oh, yes, Groundhog Day all the way. Because Groundhog Day is one of the best films out there. And so for them to be like, we know what's happening. We know where we're at. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And just to see them go through kind of that actual, like, Groundhog Day montage of, like, okay, we're going to try all these ways. Okay, we're going to get drunk and wasted and just, you know, party it up and hope something happens. Okay, I'm going to be depressed and just, like, die all these horrible types of ways, kind of. It was nice to see.
I love when the callbacks come back too, because it's so easy to not do it. It's easy writing to just like keep making new plot things. But the fact that we do get the callback of Elliot and Mario spraying themselves, that makes sense.
Permanence.
And then also with the clocks and messing with that makes sense. So I really love that we got the time loop in a way that made sense.
Yes, because first I was like, why are they affected? What happened? And then when they said the permanence, I was like, yes.
Because they're the most attractive.
Yeah.
That's the real
Because we're
reason.
the smartest. We know what's up. And it's like, is that? But it was great to have that moment and just to have them go through it. And then for Todd to make a comeback and,
Todd.
Margo. Todd's cute. I mean, but, Margo. And his real name's Eliot. We learned that last season. But it was just nice to have them have that moment where they get to go back to break bills because they're essentially like adults now. And they were adults at break bills, but now they're not college kids anymore. So anytime they have a moment where they can go back to break bills is always nice.
Yeah.
And then also I just love it's not a good place reference, but it is a good place reference by them talking about the trolley problem and sacrificing oh my gosh, I forgot who they were trying to sacrifice.
In what scene?
So when they're going through all the different ways, because I wrote them all down, it's like Vinola's oxygen saver, move the earth, sphincter magic, trolley problem.
You all know sphincter magic, right?
Sphincter magic.
We're all on the same
100%.
page here.
Trolley problem. Who were they trying to kill? Oh, it was Penny. Okay, there we go. I was like, somebody had to die. So. Yeah, just for them to go through all of it and then to finally discover that permanence is the reason.
Billie Jean Girl 24 said, what was Elliot's plan making a baseball mitten big? I think that was a joke, like he wanted to catch.
Yeah, to catch the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, so I love it. And so Elliot's still also kind of having this crisis. And even I figured maybe after he was less sleep deprived, it would be less of a problem, but it got more and more increased the more time loops they went through. And then we discover that it's not the monster coming back. It's just fucking Charlton. And that the red made him think of strawberries and Santa Claus. And he was whispering to be polite.
It's so funny because it does take a jab at the emotions that we connotate things with. And it's like just because we as humans decided red is blood, it's evil and scary, which I even was like, of course it's evil and scary. And then when he says that, you're like, I guess. We're looking at the glass half empty.
Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. Great book that talks about this.
Ooh.
Don't make no assumptions. Whatever. I'm just full of references of things that you should be looking at and reading.
You should be a magician's
outside of the magicians. But it was nice to see them acknowledge his PTSD, that it was kind of manifesting in a way that we thought it was going to go one way, and it just turned out to be the most wholesome ways of Charlton really just trying to come out and be like, I just want to be able to talk to you because I see you making mistakes and I want to talk to you about it. He's like, I think you're making the whole Margo disappearing thing about you. I think you just got too close to the actual answer and like maybe you should go and follow in her footsteps, which I thought was a great way of acknowledging like, yes, Margo was still on the right path and Margo was still making all these right moves. And we shouldn't just ignore that she forgot about the time loop. Like, something did happen to her.
Yeah, I love the fact that it was Margo and Eliot kind of taking this head on and that she ended up falling out while he was demising.
Yeah.
And I thought that they addressed it in a 1-hour episode. They really addressed the complexity of grief and PTSD and mental illness so well because on all ends, even Margo's end, because it's hard when you hear someone
on the outside.
Yeah, because you want to be like, no, that's not true, but like you're also discrediting what is it is true to them in their head. But then him being able to be like, no, she was just trying to be a friend.
Yeah, and something was happening. It just wasn't what he thought. There was something inside of him. It just wasn't the monster. They did, like they always do such a wonderful job of handling trauma and mental illness much better than Doctor Who did this past episode. I'm just saying, love you, Doctor Who, but what was that about? And so, I always trust the writers of the show to handle things with care and to be understanding of where people are coming from. And it just speaks to how great the show is and everyone should be watching it.
It got even greater when there's whales.
The whales. I thought it was going to be dolphins because
dolphins are so smart.
Dolphins are so smart. And then also, oh my gosh. Oh no, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. Douglas Adams, Galaxy. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. galaxy.
I have no idea.
Somebody in the chat knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, we'll see.
You know what I'm talking about. Douglas Adams, Galaxy, this book. He died. There's a few books. Mice and dolphins are the smartest beings on Earth. You'll figure it out in a second. But, like, so for them to kind of change it up and have it be the whales, I thought was really great. Galaxy, oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy.
I'll let you know.
Yes, if somebody knows, thank you so much. Or just Google Douglas Adams. It'll be like the first thing that pops up for people in the chat. And so the whales, I don't know. I didn't get to look up if they actually do any type of tracing in the ground or
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thank you.
There you go.
I know what I'm talking about. I love that book.
And Batman is Butthurt said that too.
Yes. Thank you. Batman is butthurt. Perfect. For them to basically be there to keep the Kraken at bay. So
Yeah.
tracing sigils on the ground floor. I don't know what whales do. I didn't study whales before this episode. But just to have that whole moment where they talk to them and they're like, hey, what did you do to Margo? And they're like, well, she's rude. And I was like,
funny.
you know what? That's fair. If you lead with kindness, you know, you probably get what you want.
That's so funny. It's so her.
Mm-hmm.
That I totally buy over her dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like she doesn't die because she's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Straight up. So it has to be because she's
She's rude.
ill-mannered sometimes.
Yeah. And I think even Charlton said, oh, she's probably going to kill the whales to get the Kraken released. But she told them, and they're like, well, you're rude, and you're trying to kill us, so no time loop for you. It was just great to have that moment. And then for also for Eliot to have these kind of like tender moments with the non-big, big characters of the show. For him to have that moment with Josh where they eat pierogi tacos, which that sounds disgusting. I
love that moment too because even Josh said it. It was another moment of self-awareness. Like you have Alice and Julia, the two strongest magicians, arguably in all of Magic Land.
Yeah.
But you chose me. But it's great because sometimes when someone's not in that, like they're just different, they can provide a perspective that they can't.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like when you turn to, like even outside of therapy, like if you're on an airplane for a long ride and you turn to a stranger and you tell them your life story, they're going to have a totally different perspective. And I think there's a comfort in knowing that they won't remember and you may not see this person again. And even Josh was like, I'm not going to remember this and it sucks, but I know you're going to take care of it. And so, like, just figure it out. So for him to finally just be like, it was still Josh who came up with the idea to release the Kraken, which...
Release the Kraken!
Kudos, because everyone hated that remake of Clash of the Titans. It was a horrible film, but the best part of it was Liam Neeson screaming, "Release the Kraken."
Release the Kraken.
We all know this to be true.
Yes.
So for them to have to be like, "Release the Kraken," and then for Elliot to be like, "I need you to release the Kraken," then for the scuba diver to come out and I was like, "Is that the Kraken? Will they really just make it a dude?" So for them to actually have the Kraken come out, was wonderful. And to see Eliot be like, I'm still going to mess this up. So, Margo, we have to do the credenza. And she knows exactly what to do. That it falls on her to at least just knock out Marina so they can actually successfully do the spell before the harmonic convergence happens. Because because if they had been able to do it with the harmonic convergence in place, I feel like they still could have. No, it would have been too late. Never mind.
I liked this version way better. I love a good heist in fancy clothes. Like just taking over a rich person's house.
Let's take over all the rich people's
houses. Give it to me. Yes.
Soon, you guys. It's tough out here in these streets. People are making mistakes. People are making bad choices. Let's just, I'm in LA, plenty of mansions. Like, let's just go in. Let's just take one.
Right
now.
Right. # release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. I'm joking. Do not send the police after me. But anyways, so we finally do get them to move the moon and they get to celebrate and we think everything's cool. And then Todd shows up. Oh, Todd.
And what's his name? the ham guy, the sexist pig.
The sexist pig.
The sexist pig
That's also
wasn't
the Dark
kidding.
King.
And he would rather Todd than the former and now current re-goddess herself.
Yeah.
Julia.
Anybody but a woman.
Anybody but a woman. I mean, seriously, obviously we can't think because we get periods, you know?
Yeah, because of the moon.
I love, someone brought up that reporter, that's why I said that, who kept saying, it was my tampon.
Yes. And it was like, well, she's like, it was my tampon, and it was your girlfriend or something like that. Everything, just every small part of these 2 episodes was wonderful.
Loved it.
And so, yeah, Fillory is on its way to ending because of Hamlet the pig.
I have it. Because
And
his name is actually incredible.
yes, and who also is played by
By the
King.
Dark King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has to be a tie-in.
I
Like,
wonder
give that to me,
if
please.
if it's going to be the same character though. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that him in disguise warning something so he's setting them up? Or is that a separate character and then just using the fabulous actor for 2 characters?
It could be either or,
Yeah.
and I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it. But yeah. So now we have to go save Fillory. Now they're done saving the world, even though they kind of caused the world to end, but then they fixed it. So now we're on to saving Fillory, and that's how we leave it. I don't know. I thought it was just a great 2 hours of television.
Me
How'd you
too.
feel?
Me too. Loved it.
Yeah, it felt really good. I really enjoyed this. I haven't been enjoying Doctor Who lately, so to be able to come here and really love the magicians has been great.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, so you want to go ahead into news and gossip?
Yes, and it actually has to do with this episode, so that's great. Mashable had an awesome video with Elliot and, well, the actor, Hale Appleman. And he was talking about just how his character arc in this episode and how wonderful it was. And he had a really great quote about it, and he said that I thought it was one of the best scripts for magicians that I'd ever read. Our writer, Hilary Benfield, is so talented and was an excellent person to bring the audience down that rabbit hole. There was so much specificity to her writing and the way that the story unfolded, and I think it was also the first time on our show where it was just a single storyline throughout a single episode. It felt more cinematic in that we were following a single through line. It was incredibly exciting for me, which is awesome to hear, and I love that because I actually feel really similar, that it was such an amazingly written episode. And then he said that he loved that Charlton, the reoccurrence of Charlton. He said, yeah, a little Jiminy Cricket, a little stand-in therapist.
Right?
Everyone needs that.
Everyone, oh God, if Jiminy Cricket were in its own way kind of real, or just,
So,
a
Hale
therapy referee.
Appleman is the best.
Yes, he is the best. All right, thank you so much for the news and gossip. Now let's go ahead into the special segment, Witchcraft, Sorcerers, and Dragons. And that's brought to you by me. All right, so let's talk about time loops, y'all. Time loops are a fictional device used to create kind of like a world where someone has to kind of acknowledge any type of problems or a downfall. We've seen it in Groundhog Day. We've seen it in Edge of Tomorrow, Happy Death Day to You, some other things I can't think of right now. It happens a lot on TV because everyone loves doing a Groundhog Day reference. But one of the first times it's actually used in fiction is a short story called Doubled and Redoubled by Malcolm Jameson. It was written in the unknown, which you think like, oh, this is from way time before the 1930s. I can't remember exactly when, and that you won't be able to find it. But The Unknown is actually available on Kindle, so if you want to read the original short story, you can find it. It's a man who's cursed to repeat a perfect day, which is kind of the opposite of everything we've seen so far with the use of time loops. The second thing I want to talk about was Lunatics. So as we did kind of mention before, that it derives from the Latin term lunaticus, meaning of the moon or moonstruck. It was used to as a way to explain like epilepsy and madness, because it was thought that those things were caused by the moon. But there's also been just various illnesses that have been attached to this term. So during the time of like Aristotle, bipolar disorder was thought to be a form of lunacy because there was sleep deprivation that happened when people were exposed to a light from the moon at night when normally they should be asleep or not have any light. And it was also in the 1920s and 30s, I think, associated with a different type of mental illness. But if you go through and look throughout history, most of the time, whenever any type of mental illness was happening or any type of hysteria, people would be like, it's because of the moon. Like, that's why when a woman is on her period, people will be like, oh, it's that time of the month, it's full moon, that time of the month. So, just so you know, that's why. It's
wow.
kind of some
and
BS.
also
But
probably
it is
some of the writing referring to the moon as a woman.
Yes, the moon is considered throughout history to be like a feminine quality. And that's also because of the tides. And there is it is factual, I rhymed, to say that, sorry to gross you out, that the women, like, our menstrual periods do circle around the cycle of the moon. Historically, less so in modern day and age. So, Google it, look it up. It's true, though.
Love it.
All right, and werewolves
quick
too.
note, it's Sir Effingham.
Sir Effingham.
Billie Jean Girl.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's such an iconic name.
Yes. I'm happy that I was able to end this episode talking about menstrual cycles on that note. Yeah, get down with it. You wouldn't be here without it. I'm Adrian Snow. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the... I'm tongue-tied because I talked about menstrual cycles.
The moon is coming.
The Magicians After Show on AfterBuzz TV. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. You can also catch me on the Doctor Who and Outlander After Show this Sunday starting at 7. Stephanie, where can they follow you?
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on all over social media at Steph Sabraw, Sabraw. And yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. See
Happy
you next
moon.
week. Ty will be back. We won't talk about moon stuff.
Maybe.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.